Today's episode is about a rodent meteorologist who resides at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Hey Wanderers, welcome back to another Foolish Wanderers podcast, the podcast about anything and everything. Today we're going to be talking about Punxsutawney Phil, the rodent from Groundhog's Day.
I thought you were going to say Pickletown.
That too, yes. Pickletown. Is that a thing, Pickletown? I'm sure it is.
I hope it's not a real place, but it probably is.
There's a festival for pickles.
Where? I know that you put like a pickle on the tree.
Yeah.
For Christmas. We talked about that a few episodes back for, I think, Rich of Christmas Traditions.
Yeah.
What episode was that? Yeah, episode 47, Rich of Christmas Traditions.
Yeah.
We talked about the pickle on the tree.
Pickle in the tree. So there's actually a few pickle festivals. So there's one in Mansfield, Texas, one in Mount Olive, New York, which is
Why wouldn't you have olives?
Mount Olive, North Carolina.
Why wouldn't you have a festival for olives? It seems like a missed opportunity.
Exactly, it's your namesake.
Stuff like that just infuriates me when it's like blatant missed opportunities.
I'll look up Olive Festival in a second. There's also one in Clearwater, Florida, just to name a few.
Oh, in Clearwater, Florida?
Yes.
That's the headquarters for Scientology.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
No, pickles.
Anytime I ever hear like athlete or I don't know, somebody that's like Clearwater, Florida, I always tell them that. I'm like,
oh,
it's the Scientology capital of the world.
Fun fact I didn't need to know. Yeah, no, Mount Olive doesn't seem to have an olive festival.
That's just disgusting. Oh, and Shelley Miscavige, David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology, she's still missing. His wife, she is still missing. She hasn't been publicly seen for many, 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 many years.
Okay, so I'm very behind in Scientology because, quite frankly, it freaks me out. So I had no idea anyone was missing. Maybe that's a future episode.
She was last seen in 2007.
Oh my goodness.
She's dead.
That gave me goosebumps. I don't like that.
She's dead.
Oh, yeah, but okay. Should we go back to Punxsutawney Phil?
How did we even get there?
Because we looked at Pickle Festival.
Oh yeah, Clearwater, Florida. Got it. Okay, we're gonna get back to Groundhog's Day now. Groundhog's Day is definitely the biggest holiday in February. There's no other holidays in February.
Nope.
Nothing that rhymes with Malin-Mine's May.
Very clever, I love it.
That was so bad. Nothing that looks like upside down butts.
Peaches.
Oh, I meant like a heart, because a heart looks like an upside down butt.
You know, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Peaches look like butt.
Yeah, that's why I used the peach emoji instead of like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, back to Groundhog's Day. The biggest holiday in February.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on February 2nd, every single year, Punxsutawney holds a festival with music and food. During the ceremony, which begins well before the winter sunrise, Phil emerges from his temporary home on Gobbler's Knob, located in a rural area about 2 miles southeast of town. According to tradition, if Phil sees his shadow and returns to his hole... Oh, Phil's a groundhog. He's not a human.
So Punxsutawney is the town, correct? Uh-huh. And then Phil's a groundhog.
Yep. Phil's not a human. That'd be super funny though if it was a human that was like he goes back to his hole.
It's like the hermits or like the original gnomes we talked about in the gnomes episode.
Oh my gosh. I would like that better.
What? If you walked out once a year?
Yeah, it was like a hermit. Like people in the festival to go see like this hermit guy at this mansion on these mansion grounds, and then he did like a dance or something.
It just like predicts the weather for the entire year.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
It's accurate the entire time. That'd be fabulous.
Okay, so if Phil sees his shadow and returns to his hole, he has predicted 6 more weeks of winter-like weather. If Phil does not see his shadow, he has predicted an early spring. Punxsutawney's event is the most famous of many Groundhog Day festivals held in the United States and Canada. The event formally began in 1887, although its roots go back even further.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, now we're going to move into Punxsutawney Phil official canon.
Okay.
So, Oh, I just have an image of Gobbler's Knob just because it's such a awful, like, dirty, hilarious location name. But you see how he
Mm.
has, like, his own little stump and then his little billboard behind him.
Yeah, it's cute. It's like he has
It's
his own
cute.
little hut.
It's
It's
cute,
cute.
even though he's held captive.
Oh.
Okay, back to official canon for Punxsutawney Phil. Alright, so according to the lore, there's only one Phil,
Okay.
and all other groundhogs are imposters.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kind of like a cult-like already. They're like,
It
"We
kinda
believe there was only one Phil."
one Phil has only ever lived, or that ever will live.
And all the other groundhogs are imposters. It is claimed that this one groundhog, named Phil,
Mhm.
has lived to make weather predictions since 1886. He is
Dang.
sustained by drinks of groundhog punch or the elixir of life administered at the annual groundhog picnic in the fall. So not Groundhog's Day, the Punxsutawney like festival thing in Punxsutawney on February
Yeah.
2nd, not Groundhog's Day, but they have a groundhog picnic with him in the fall.
So
And
what
then the lifespan of the groundhog in the wild is roughly 6 years. So that's how long they're supposed to live, but in Phil world, he has been alive since 1886.
so this groundhog found the Fountain of Youth and is keeping it all for himself.
No, his
Oh.
his
His
crew.
his crew found the Fountain of Youth.
Yep, his crew.
Okay.
We'll get into his crew, but his
Oh,
crew
oh
give
my.
it to him. They give him the groundhog punch.
The punch. You're not supposed to drink the punch, Phil.
You're not supposed to drink the punch.
No, it's bad. Do not
Yep,
drink punch.
it's really bad. Yep. So this whole thing is kind of cult-like. We're already there's only one Phil,
Yep.
and all. Yeah.
Oh no, okay.
Drink the punch. Drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh no.
So according to the Groundhog Club, yes, that's the real thing, the Groundhog Club.
Okay.
Phil, after the prediction, speaks to the club president in the language of groundhogese.
Okay.
That's the official language of groundhogs, groundhogese.
Okay.
Which supposedly only the current president can understand, and then his prediction is translated and revealed to all.
Not culty at all. I like
Not
it.
culty at all. So
No.
far we've had there's only one true groundhog named Phil. We've had Kool-Aid.
Uh-huh.
And we've had a special secret language that only one person can understand and then translates it to the rest of the crew.
It's sane. It's fine. It's safe. You're good.
It's fine, it's a groundhog. Who
It's
cares?
fine. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, the Groundhog Day celebration is rooted in a Celtic and Germanic tradition that says that if a hibernating animal casts a shadow on February 2nd, the pagan holiday of Imbolc, Imbolc, known among Christians as Candlemas.
Okay.
So not Christmas, Candlemas.
Candlemas. Okay.
I feel like me personally, I would like Candlemas way better than Christmas because I have an unhealthy obsession with candles.
I feel like
I have
a lot of
candle
people.
drawer.
You have a candle drawer. I have a candle cabinet, so I think we're good.
Okay, you have more of an issue than I do.
Yes. Okay, continue.
I have a candle cabinet.
It's just like one shelf in a cabinet. It's fine. It's healthy.
Alright, before you know it, it's going to spread down to the other shelves like an infection.
Oh, I know. Oh, ew.
So during Candlemas, the clergy would bless and distribute candles needed for winter. The candles represented how long and cold the winter would be. Germans expanded on this concept by selecting an animal, the hedgehog. I've also seen badger, but I've seen hedgehog more frequently.
Okay.
As a means of predicting weather. Winter and cold weather will last another 6 weeks. If no shadow is seen, legend says spring will come early. In Germany, the tradition evolved into a myth that if the sun came out on Candlemas, a hedgehog would cast its shadow, predicting snow all the way into May.
That's
When
interesting. Like if
It
the
is.
sun comes out, you think that's spring, but it's more winter. Huh, okay.
Weird.
Mhm.
When German immigrants settled in Pennsylvania, they transferred the tradition onto local fauna, replacing hedgehogs with groundhogs.
Oh.
Several other towns in the region hold similar Groundhog Day events, but they're not as big as Punxsutawney Phil. Because
Yeah.
remember, there's only one Phil.
Yes, allegedly, yes.
Each year, 2 scrolls are prepared by the vice president of the inner circle. So that's what it's called. It's called Phil's Inner Circle.
Oh, that's
and it's
worse.
comprised by So if you've ever seen like the Today Show or early morning TV or the news when they show the groundhog for Groundhog's Day,
Yeah.
Punxsutawney Phil,
Mm-hmm.
they usually show him like surrounded by like these old guys with beards in top hats and tuxedos. If that's not familiar to you at all.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Okay, but that's the inner circle, and usually the one that holds him up like Simba in The Lion King is the president.
Okay. His special privileges.
Yes. Okay, so where was I? Oh yes. Each year, two scrolls are prepared by the vice president of the inner circle. One says early spring. One scroll says early spring, and the other says 6 more weeks of winter. These scrolls are placed during the ceremony on the stump, and after Phil is awakened by the crowd, Phil communicates in the groundhogese to the president, who is then directed by Phil to the proper scroll and forecast.
So we're completely abandoning now the shadow thing.
Yeah. No, he is supposed to see his shadow, and then like he has seen it before, and then he like goes and tells you.
Interesting. Okay. So he like kind of walks over to it, like the Phil does, or he just speaks to the president and is like, "This scroll."
I think he just speaks to the president. This is so stupid. It's all just a capitalistic ploy.
Yeah.
Phil's not even a groundhog. He's a damn cat.
I was gonna say hedgehog, but you know.
It's a fat cat that they've put some buck teeth in his mouth. And they shove it in a hole and he pops up once he...
Oh no. They just bribed him with a little bit of tuna.
Uh-huh. He's high on... What are they high on? Kitten feed?
Catnip.
He's high on catnip. He's a catnip drug addict.
Did you say kitten feed?
I don't know. I have a cat. I have a dog. I don't know what it's called.
That's true. Okay.
Okay, the inner circle. I'm going to talk about the inner circle.
Okay.
So this whole groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil Groundhog Day celebration is organized by the inner circle. They are recognizable from their top hats and tuxedos. They communicate with Phil to receive his predictions. Okay. This suspension of disbelief extends to the assertion that the same groundhog has been making predictions since the 19th century. So again, the 1800s.
Okay.
So the president of the inner circle is the only person able to understand groundhogese, but it's through his possession of an ancient acacia wood cane.
Okay.
It's like Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah.
So then he's able to interpret Phil's message and directs the vice president to read the proper scroll to the crowd gathered on Gobbler's Knob and the masses of, this is what they call themselves, faithful followers, with all PH instead of faithful, like with an F, PH, faithful followers.
So faithful is spelled PHAITHPHIL. And followers is PHOLLOWERS.
Yep, and they broadcast it live around the world, and then, the Today Show shows it.
I think I've seen it on the Today Show like once.
And then this next picture, we've got the inner circle.
We'll post some of these images on Instagram at Foolish Wanderers Podcast.
I mean, it's not much to see. It's just a bunch of old fat men in tuxedos and a top hat holding onto a groundhog.
Holding onto Phil, yep.
It's very different. Okay, here we go. Here is some more facts about the inner circle. Okay. The inner circle. We need to have like dramatic music every time I say inner circle. Dun, dun, dun. The inner circle. Currently has 15 members, 16 if you count Phil himself, including President Jeff Lundy, who has been in the circle since 1990. The members all have individual nicknames that vaguely tie into their careers. Tom Dunkel, the so-called shingle shaker, is a roofing contractor, or weather phenomena. Oh, it's phenomena. That looks like a... Yeah, that's what it looks like. Phenomena. Or weather phenomena. There is an Iceman, a Big Chill, and even a Thunder Conductor.
Thunder Conductor. I like Thunder Conductor. I don't know.
It sounds like farts.
It does. No.
You like it now?
No. I'll stick to something else, thank you.
Okay.
I can just imagine like somebody walking into like a room full of people and just be like, I'm the Thunder Conductor.
I'd be like, can we check please? Can we get a
leave?
Psychiatrist in here? Okay. Moving on, people. These are some Phil facts.
Okay.
Punxsutawney Phil has a wife named Phyllis.
Okay.
Phil lives in the library in Punxsutawney with his wife Phyllis.
Is she as old as Phil? Or is
Yeah.
she? Oh, she is. Okay.
She doesn't die either.
Okay.
I don't think she gets her own little parade or anything, but to
Oh.
drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm sure. So yeah, so they both reside in the public library.
Oh, interesting. So you can go and like look at them anytime you want in the library?
I think I think it's, I don't know, I should Google it. Okay, this next picture is him like that he's coming out of the hole.
It's kind of sad. He's like holding his hand against the glass, like, help me.
Yeah, he's been doing this for hundreds of years. He's done with this shit.
Predict
Put
your
up
own
with it.
weather.
So like there is a little window that you could possibly see him if
Okay.
you know, hopefully don't slap on the glass and make him mad and Phil is upset. But
Oh.
yeah, there's like little windows that's Phil's burrow, and they've got signs and stuff outside, and then you can also go inside to try and sneak a peek at them.
It's kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, but hopefully they have enough room and they're taking.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're
taking care of
taking, you know, good well
Oh,
care
I'm
of.
very sure. He's lived several hundred years.
Yeah, I
he's
mean
well taken
he's
care of.
yep, he's well taken care of. He looks good for his age.
Oh yes, beautiful,
Okay,
smashing.
some more Phil facts. Punxsutawney Phil was fiercely anti-prohibition.
Okay.
So Phil apparently likes more than just his groundhog punch. The
Who is giving
groundhog-
this groundhog libations? I want
The
to
old
speak to
people in
them.
this office.
That's weird. Okay.
The groundhog quite memorably announced during Prohibition that if he were kept from drinking the hard stuff, there would be 60 weeks of winter.
He is a very spiteful little groundhog.
Yep, but not even Punxsutawney Phil can plunge the world into over a year of winter, desire for booze aside.
Mm-hmm.
He has no
That's
control
very
over the weather. Yeah, he doesn't have control over the weather, so.
good. Good.
Okay, so how does Phil get around? Good question, Katrina.
Thank you.
He has this. So Phil has a special car called the Philmobile.
Of course.
It's a little bus that houses members of the inner circle, and
Yes.
Phil has a special seat on the outside so he can be seen on parades.
Oh,
Like
is
the
it a little
Pope-
car seat?
like the Pope-mobile, but for a dog.
That's fantastic. I like it.
And that's all I have.
Are you gonna go see Punxsutawney Phil?
No.
No?
Nah,
I'm sure he'd love to see you.
I don't think you would. Okay, and if anyone that wants to like look at any more of the weird sideshows I do or food they sell for the Groundhog Day event, you can go on to groundhog.org.
They have like special foods.
They've got like, you know, it's like the souvenir. It's like a tourist trap stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Kind of like the hodag, but this one's actually an
This is-
animal.
This is
It's
big.
real.
This is way bigger than the Hodag. I mean, Bill Murray made a movie about this called Groundhog Day. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it. I've heard of it.
It's funny.
But is it actually
So-
about Punxsutawney Phil?
Oh yeah, it's
Oh, is it? Okay.
Bill Murray. He stars as this weatherman. I think he's a weatherman, or is he just like a news reporter? Maybe he's just a news reporter. Somebody who's a big fan is gonna be really upset with me. I think he's a weatherman. So Bill Murray's like a weatherman and he hates his
Okay.
life, and he goes to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to cover the annual Groundhog Day celebration.
Okay.
And somehow he ends up reliving the same day over and over and over and over again.
Okay, that's the part I've heard of, yeah.
So it's him trying to figure out how to get out, escape.
See, isn't that the idea, like, when I heard about this movie, like, kind of terrifies me, being stuck in a loop for so
Mhm.
long and not being able to break out of it?
Oh yeah, that'd be scary.
And you're just, like, living in it for, like, hundreds of years and you finally figure it out.
Maybe that's what Punxsutawney Phil's doing.
Hey, maybe.
And he hasn't figured it out.
No, that's
Him
why
and
they dress the
Phyllis
same.
Him and Phyllis are stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, so Punxsutawney Phil also has a Twitter account, so you can go follow him, Punxsutawney Phil. They only have 9,000 members, or followers on Twitter.
Members. Do they have an Instagram, I wonder? I'm sure
Yes, they do. At Punxsutawney Phil. And then his location is Gobbler's Knob.
do.
Ew!
That name. Oh, I found him on Instagram. He only has 4 images, though.
See, he just must be sleeping.
Oh,
He's
yes.
so old, he doesn't really care for technology.
He's not very tech savvy. That's okay.
That's
We still
okay.
love you, Phil.
Does he have a check mark?
No, none of them do.
Oh, and I totally forgot about this little fact. But so they think that Phil, Punxsutawney Phil, is named after Queen Elizabeth's husband, or late husband, Prince Philip.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 'Cause he was like more of a celebrity at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I honestly don't know too much about the royal family. I know like some names, but some I kind of don't remember very well.
And that was the story about Groundhog's Day.
So kind of speaking of royalty,
Yes, Phil is royal.
yes, well also his namesake is royalty.
Oh,
Phil,
good
Queen
point.
Elizabeth.
True.
But yes, Punxsutawney Phil is royalty.
Hey, if you're followed around by like an inner circle that's
True.
wearing tuxedos and top hats, you're royalty to me.
Yeah, true. Right, so speaking of royalty, there's another article I found on allthat'sinteresting.com called Can Marie Antoinette Syndrome Really Turn Your Hair White from Fright? Have you ever heard of this, Kendra?
I have never heard of Marie Antoinette syndrome, but I know who
Okay.
Marie Antoinette was.
I kind of would hope so because she's pretty infamous.
Let them eat cake.
Yes. Did she actually say that, or was that just kind of like a...
I've heard. I think it was more like a newspaper media fake
Okay.
ploy.
That's what I kind of thought. It was like they just said it to make her sound worse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I do kind of feel bad for Marie Antoinette though.
I do too.
She got her husband got executed, and then both of her children died. They were young.
That's the thing
And
that
then,
kills me is they're kids.
That's what me too. I'm like, oh, the kids. And then, she died at the end too.
Yeah, well, part of it too is like she didn't necessarily. She was so young when she came into power, right? So you don't have that. Even back then, you didn't have that mental.
In her early, like maybe 12, 13, when she was
really
shipped
young.
over from Austria to France to marry Louis.
Yep. Yeah, she was very young, and then so going through your teenage years while you're technically queen.
And they didn't have children for a very, very, very long time, and that when you're royal or anything with power and you're the wife and you're not producing children, which is was back then your only sort of job, unfortunately, as a woman, like you were just probably given all sorts of hate 24/7 365 until and even if you had a daughter, it was like it's not a son.
It's like the worst thing. Yeah. So like that's kind of why a lot of people say that she, spent so much money and like indulged in sweets is because she was a kid. She grew up in power with money as a kid. So like she didn't really have as much training as like how to like I guess like more responsibly run
Peter Pan syndrome.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Is that what the Marie Antoinette syndrome is? Is
No.
Peter Pan syndrome?
No. So Marie Antoinette syndrome is also known as Canitas subita, I believe is how you pronounce it.
That sounds like a fake word.
It's Canities subita, or subita, Canitas subita.
I'm not gonna Google that to
that.
fact check you. I'm not gonna Google that.
So this condition is said to suddenly turn all of your hair white due to either fear or stress or like a combination of the two. So, however, it's not like scientifically proven yet that it's real. So let's get into it a little bit.
I thought she just wore a wig.
That's what I thought too, like they powdered it or like had like a wig or something. Yeah. Okay, so here's a couple like accounts of people that supposedly had the syndrome. So one is once apparently a queen, doesn't say what queen, went to sleep a brunette and woke up the next morning with white hair, like all white hair. And then another man, on the morning of his execution, he discovered that his hair had turned white. And then another young soldier, he said that he had a near-death experience and his hair turned white overnight. So all of these three encounters describe what is now known as Marie Antoinette syndrome. So apparently the most famous account of this is the young French queen's hair turned white after a failed attempt to escape France during the Revolution. So although Antoinette had enjoyed powdering her hair with wearing white wigs in her youth, so she did powder her hair, she was not happy about the change. So this wasn't supposedly powder or like a wig. These cases of Marie Antoinette syndrome, also known as Canitas subita, seemed scientifically impossible, yet dozens of cases, some even witnessed by physicians, report a sudden change in hair color. So to me that's kind of a weird concept because like unless you bleach your hair, how does something that's already like grown out of your head lose
all its color because it's already dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
That's
don't
weird.
think it's real. I don't believe it, but
I don't know.
No.
So on June 20th, 1791, the French royal family fled from Paris, with revolutionaries chasing them. So Marie Antoinette pushed her husband Louis XVI to ride for territories controlled by her brother. An army of 10,000 still loyal to the monarchy would allow the royals to retake their throne. However, this plan that she had was a disaster. Disguised as a governess and a valet, the queen and king left Paris behind. They rode through the night, hoping to reach allies before they were caught, but news of their escape quickly became public, and France's National Guard began searching for the royals. So her plan was kind of just like go to like where her brother had power and then take over kind of like under a different name, and then they got caught.
They got cat.
So in the city of Varennes, a postmaster, I believe it's France, yeah.
Okay.
A postmaster confronted the disguised king well after midnight. So he held up a banknote with the monarch's face, and none could deny that he was the king.
That's stupid to me, because if you look at any of, if you look at like a lot of these royal portraits,
yeah,
they Photoshop.
Yeah,
like,
they do.
Like Photoshop themselves.
Yeah.
To make themselves look better.
Oh yeah, because you want to impress people. Yeah.
Like for instance, Cleopatra was homely looking.
Yeah.
I can say that because she's been dead for thousands of years, but she was really homely looking.
Isn't there like a bust that was pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Okay,
she had like she was homely looking. She was not what all these other portraitures and stuff made her out to be, or there's other instances as well.
Like, isn't it like on a coin that there's like one that looks supposedly what she was supposed to look like, or
and a bust? Yeah,
a bust. Okay, yeah. I'm surprised that she had those or let those like be made. I guess because if she wanted to make herself look more beautiful, but
I mean, there's other like more modern instances with like royals were inbred a lot of most of the time, and a lot of them had issues, gimp legs, scoliosis, hunchbacks, all this other stuff edited out in the portraits.
Yeah,
so I find it very hard to believe that some sort of guy was able to hold up a dollar bill and be like, "It's you!
It's the king!" Unless it was just like certain features that they always had, but like in the portraits and stuff, maybe it was features.
Point, but I don't know. It'd be pretty hard for me to be running around with like a $1 bill with George Washington on it and be like, "It's you!"
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair enough. So supposedly, the king and the queen were then led back to Paris, led by guardsmen and armed citizens. So very forcefully, were led back to Paris.
Citizens arrest with pitchforks.
Yeah, very violent.
They're like,
citizens arrest.
You're like, if you, one more step towards us, and you're gonna get leprosy.
Oh, that's not good. Okay. So once they were led back to Paris, the king and queen would then eventually face a trial and then be executed. So when the queen returned to Paris, however, Marie Antoinette was not the same woman who had fled the night on June 20th. Apparently, overnight, her hair had turned a shocking shade of white. So apparently, according to the syndrome, the theory is that she was so stressed, which obviously you're fleeing for your life, her hair turned white, which wasn't it blonde to begin with? So I guess that wouldn't be too far.
In the movie, it was blonde. I don't know what it was in real life.
Okay, fair enough. So Henriette Campton, the Queen's lady in waiting, confirmed the change. This is her quote: "The first time I saw Her Majesty after the unfortunate catastrophe of the Vernays journey, her features were not very much altered, but after the first kind words she uttered to me, she took off her cap and desired me to observe the effect which grief had produced upon her hair." So she confirmed that her hair all of a sudden became white.
Was it overnight, or was it like a few days, or?
I believe it's overnight. Okay. That is what happened. So, continuing her quote, "It had become, in one single night, there you go, as white as that of a woman of 70. Kettmann related, at the time, Marie Antoinette was just 35 years old.
That's kind of... Okay, so, but just think, what is that age today? Is that 50?
What do you mean? So
you know, like, people died a lot earlier. Like their life expectancy was shorter than it is today by a lot.
But with that,
so is 35 then? Is that like 45 now?
That's a good question. I don't really know. Like, would your features change that much even if you were to die young?
But then I'm like taking into account like stress of an everyday life of not having modern medicine.
So you mean like you're comparing like calling her old because like Marie Antoinette I don't think had a lot of extra stress until the revolution.
Hmm.
So like but you mean like comparing her to like an everyday worker or like common lady that would be like working and trying to make a living, that kind of thing?
I don't know.
Like
I'm like,
how
is
she
it
would
that
look?
much of a? I don't know. I'm like, is it that much of a step, like, to think like, oh, having because now like having 30, like being 35 and having white hair, that's a
Yeah.
little bit uncommon. But
Hmm.
you start to gray in like your late 20s a
Do
little. Like
you?
some people depends.
No, I don't want to go gray.
Some people,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then it starts to get more common as you get older, obviously.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm just saying, like, is it that uncommon in that time for like the late 1700s for a woman of 35 to
Hmm.
have white hair or gray hairs, and then
That's a good. I'm sure they had some gray hair because, yeah, because if they were working so hard, it's not. I guess I don't know. I haven't read any like history books talking about what they would look like as far as like hair color changing faster. But yeah,
I guess it
but
would be weird if they were weirded out that her hair turned white.
yeah, you think if
So
they're
then it
weirded out,
means
that it
that,
is
yeah, then it means
weird.
it's weird. Okay.
Yep, yep. So, well, although Marie Antoinette's account is the most famous account of Marie Antoinette syndrome, it has baffled scientists for centuries. So, again, is it really possible to change overnight? Okay, so here's a few more cases. So, centuries before the French Revolution, Thomas More's hair also turned white overnight. A humanist and lawyer, More refused to accept Henry VIII ending his first marriage and leaving the Catholic Church. When the king demanded that More take the oath of supremacy, More instead chose prison and execution. So, the night before his execution in 1535, More's hair suddenly became white.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, he'd be super stressed, but still interesting that it turned white.
Hmm.
And then Mary, the Queen of Scots, also reportedly arrived at her execution in 1587 with a new hair color. After her son consented to her execution, Mary's hair became white during her last night of life.
Hmm.
So this is an eyewitness account. Quote, "It is not old age that turned it white." This is by Pierre de Bordel. Continued, but the troubles, misfortunes, and sorrows which she had suffered, especially in her prison. So I couldn't imagine either, like being in a prison,
Prison
especially in that time.
conditions,
Oh,
cold, wet, just full of disease, you get
yep,
sick. Oh
yep,
my gosh.
terrifying. Yes.
Rotten food, probably.
Oh, yeah. The oldest recorded case of the Marie Antoinette syndrome dates back nearly 2,000 years. So, according to the Talmud, a teenage scholar who joined the Israeli Talmudic Academy worried that his youth made him seem unprepared for serious studies. The next day, he had white hair. So, the medieval Jewish scholar, forgive my pronunciation, Maimonides, posed that intense studying had caused a change. So, again, stress. So,
Or he dyed it.
I suppose, yeah, maybe if you wanted to seem older and more wise, I suppose.
I would do that, yeah.
So, in more modern cases, witnessed by physicians, in 1915, a French soldier nearly died in a mine explosion during World War I battles.
Hmm.
He was taken into so this is a quote from Scientific American. He was taken to the English hospital at Arquebuayos, again, please forgive my pronunciation, where in the following day he noticed to his surprise tufts of white hair on the left side of his head.
But just tufts.
Just tufts, yes. So only part of his hair changed. In 1902, a physician at the London Temperance Hospital treated a young woman who saw a woman's throat being cut and a victim falling
Oh
dead at her
my
feet.
gosh.
So very traumatic. So half of her hair also turned white.
Oh, mine would too.
Yeah, if you saw that, yeah, terrifying. Okay, so according to Desmond Tobin, a dermatological science professor at the University College of Dublin, says that the syndrome is impossible. He says that there are no living cells in the hair, which, yes,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
dead.
so physiological stress can affect the hair fiber that's already been formed.
It's dead.
Yes, it is dead. It can only affect the fibers that are forming, which is what I thought, right? Because like you get stressed out, you can technically go gray early if you worry too much.
Yep.
So
But
or
there's
have too
no
much
way for it
anxiety.
to spread down
Oh,
from
yeah.
like the root of your hair. And your hair
Nope.
doesn't grow that fast.
Oh no, that'd be amazing if it did, but no. So then what explains overnight changes in hair color? According to some accounts, Marie Antoinette is said that dyed her hair before fleeing Paris, maybe to help disguise her. Another condition may also explain the syndrome. Those with alopecia areata can suffer from sudden hair loss, and pigmented hair is more likely to fall out. Perhaps the stress of its execution caused Thomas More to lose his dark brown hair, leaving only the white behind, so making it look like his hair color changed overnight. So like if he already had some white hairs like growing in, and then due to alopecia areata, like the dark hairs all of a sudden with the stress fell out, so making it look like it changed color, which makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, because it's like the only way you could actually
Logical.
the only
That
logical
actually
way.
happened, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So, but then according to a 2020 study in Nature points to another explanation. So apparently exposing mice to stress could destroy the cells that produce pigment in hair. Stressed out mice suddenly had patches of white fur.
But not all the way white.
No, not all the
Just
way.
patches.
Yes, but like that one soldier, right? He just had the white patches.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so research and physician reports show that hair whitening is possible. However, can it happen overnight? Perhaps only in some extreme situations. So, I don't know. I can see, like with the alopecia thing, falling out, I can see that. Or like I can see maybe some of the studies if it's patches of your hair turn white. Maybe. I don't know.
Not the whole I can't see the whole thing, your whole head turning white.
So drastically, yeah. If it was over like a couple months, I can see that, but not like overnight.
I could say a week. I could be like, okay, if something kept, but like extremely traumatic happened to you, but not overnight. Not I go to bed for 7 hours and I wake up and it's completely changed.
Yeah, or if we're like stressed out for class and like doing an all-nighter working on homework, and imagine if we just showed up to class.
My hair would be white. My hair would have been white 10 times over.
Oh yeah,
if that was a thing.
I feel like a lot of modern day like college students
would have all white hair. Whole generation full of white hair.
Oh yeah, it'd be very much proven. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that was super interesting. I've never heard of Marie Antoinette syndrome before.
I haven't either. So thank you, allthat'sinteresting.com. Thank you guys so much for listening to another Foolish Wanderers podcast. If you guys would like to check out the companion images to these episodes, check out our Instagram at Foolish Wanderers Podcast. And then if you'd like to send us an email with any future episode suggestions, send us an email at fwplisteners@gmail.com.
And new episodes of the Foolish Wanderers podcast are out every single Wednesday from wherever you get your podcasts, including our YouTube channel. Yeah. Oh, and make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, and make sure you hit that notifications button for all future episodes.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.